pick, John, but you've got to really get it to that point where it kind of becomes a little broken.
Yeah, it takes a while to cook that up, and ADRIOT did run this yesterday up against Reality Rift. They did pick that up to great effect. It was specifically the Beastmaster Dazzle again coming out. Right. So I think it's gonna be a Bensoy Dazzle, and we're gonna see, I think, Mac on Beastmaster. That's how they tend to do it. But TNC straight to the Shaker. That's a great response to this, and you have so much value because ADRIOT pick up the Enigma as well. So there's a lot of big Echo Slams that could come out, and a lot of creeps to really feed off of. TNC going all in on a sort of wombo combo lineup already. I think that is pretty strong. There are a lot of ways to make that work. There's a lot of counterplay potential from ADRIOT, particularly with the Tusk, but you're talking about blink on the Tusk for snowball saves. That tends to take a while. I have to say the Enigma coming out here does put a bit of a question mark over my head, because you've got the Beastmaster, Dazzle, Enigma. All of these heroes we tend to see in like the off-lane role, except for Dazzle on safe. But this does kind of make ADRIOT's lineup look really greedy in terms of EXP scaling.
It does appear that way, and they will finish off with the Weaver now, but I've got to say, how lucky are we to start off with a draft like this from both teams? Like, we've got an Echo Slam, we've got a Phoenix Egg, we've got a Conquer Boat, we've got the Brewmaster Split, we've got the Enigma Black. I mean, it just never ends, right? We've got so many things going on in this game already. So many ways to come back into the game if things go wrong, right? For both sides. Just one decent team fight could turn it the other way pretty much instantly for either side, depending on who does fall behind. And ADRIOT, they do finish it off with the Weaver. Slippery hero to end this off. We've seen the Weaver quite a bit over yesterday. I think we saw it 2 or 3 times, maybe even more than that. It did look pretty potent if it was built correctly in terms of item builds. Obviously it needs a bit of farm, but once you get that Desolator up on the Weaver, he kind of becomes a little broken. You can opt for the Diffusal build as well if you want to be just kind of annoying on that Weaver. But overall now, TNC, their final pickup to finish off this draft, we are still missing their POS 1. Gabby needs his hero, so I do believe that will be a Kunkka mid now. And TNC, they'll go into the peel. I can see why you go down that route, right? Like, it's just, you're going to force the Beastmaster to go into the Axis build as well, because he's up against an Illusion hero who is going to have some decent amount of armor. There's no real catch for the peel, apart from really the black hole. You could call the Raw some catch, but you've got to find a real one first.
Yeah, it can be a bit tricky for the Beastmaster. It does tie up this draft quite well from TNC. I think it does look a lot stronger. ADRIOT, they're going to have to work really hard early on to maximize this. There's a very early timer here with Weaver, with your Dazzle, with the Beastmaster. It's just a really non-standard draft, which again, you rarely see. I think ADRIOT has to really show us how to make this work, because the timings are fairly tight, but TNC can play for Protect 1. We've seen them do this a lot of times. Just give Gabby space to farm. The PL will scale. And as you mentioned, ADRIOT doesn't have the best way of dealing with that. The Weaver is not going to be able to isolate the real PL too well, and it can be an issue. So a few things going back and forth there. I do believe, I want to say TNC does have the better draft. I think they can stall the game out long enough for it to just have the PL take over.
Very, very soon. It could really go either way. It's just going to be one of those very, very entertaining games, and that's exactly what we would ask for to start off this day for us. Because we'll go into the game.
Prepare for battle.
Tips coming up, but only one really. No, in fact, Tim's gets. Was it Tim's? It was March that got most of them.
No, it was
March.
They swapped. It was Boomy and Gabby swapping. Then March just gets an unrequited tip. There's no return tips.
March always gets tips. It's just a given in SEA. They just tip March non-stop.
Oh god.
Kind of intrigued as well, right? Like, do you just go for that Axis build for Ben Soy now? But you probably don't because you have the safe lane Beastmaster right now. So it looks like they want to just try and make it so he avoids that peel in the laning stage. Like I can kind of see why they would go down that route.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it gets any better for the Weaver though in that off lane now. It's still not going to be the best of lanes for that. I feel like the Beastmaster at like level 1 to 3 should be able to apply enough harass in PL. It's still a melee core. You still have the Boris early on. It does look like they're just going to focus on trying to give Natsumi a bit of a better time instead of throwing him up against really tanky heroes in TNC zone off lane.
Because you can just static the lane though, right? Like with the Weaver versus PL, nothing's going to happen. They're just going to trade farm the whole time. Pretty much the same thing will happen up at the top lane now. KP and March not really going to be able to do too much up against that Beastmaster. They'll just trade farm. KP will probably try and harass a bit with Cinderbrew with the Fire Spirit combination, but overall, it just seems like every single lane here will just be an even trading kind of lane. And you even look at that mid lane, John. Like, Gabby's looking to go mid right now on the PL, unless he's going to switch it up. But it does seem that's going to be the case as Armel's down bot on the Kunkka.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup. PL up against Dazzle. Mac is going to be up in that mid position as well. It's not something you see too often. We have seen both heroes take that mid before, though, just not against each other. So I think this is an okay lane for Gabby, honestly, especially with Mac going for the level 1 wave rather than Poison Touch. There's not much harassment. He will shove the wave out, and I suppose Gabby will take, what, level 2 or 3 to start being able to run in and out from the wave effectively. But once he has a level in Doppel, he can kind of just self-purge if that Poison Touch comes out, and maybe even dodge the Shadow Waves as they come out as well.
We'll see how it pans out. Like, there might be a lane switch as well. Like, Natsumi's currently Sakuchiing to the left of the map. He might go mid instead. They may even just send Natsumi all the way top and prefer him going up against that Brewmaster. He's not going to have an easy game regardless of where he goes, in all fairness.
No.
Throughout this kind of draft.
Yeah, I think that's something ADRIOT expects, though. Like, their games yesterday, Bensoi did not have the best farm. They were actually getting a lot more on Boomy and Mac. So I think they understand what they're putting Bensoi through, and they just play around their supports more. So you look to Boomy to be a bit more active. He's on the Enigma, of course, and we've seen that come out from ADRIOT before. The Boomy black holes are pretty nice. But it's almost like the Shaker. The timing is a bit slower. You wait for a blink, you wait for Dominator and the Necronomicon, which it does look like Boomy is going to opt for early before anything can happen there. So ADRIOT, despite having some fairly aggressive heroes with a Tusk and Dazzle, I think they're just going to take this one a bit slower because Boomy will need to build up.
How sad. I just opened up the playground again and nobody's playing. That's not a playground. It is it's that musical chairs game. Bit tedious.
Yeah, it's only Armel playing. All by himself.
That's all Armel cares about. As far as he's concerned, he wins every game by himself. He just he just keeps trying to win, no matter what game it is.
Yeah, it's
March has reconnected for the second time. Hopefully everything's okay, and it looks like we do have the go-ahead now. Bounty runes gonna spawn. TNC almost forgetting about those top bounty runes for a second there, but they do go back for them. But it'll be a 2-for-2 trade in the end. ADRIOT will secure both bottom bounty runes as well. And looks like Natsumi is gonna stick around for now at this bot lane. I am a little intrigued that, never mind, we are gonna have another pause coming out. I'm a little intrigued that they're running a bit of a tri lane to start with, but I suppose this is to be expected when you've got a Tusk. just try and get a very early first blood with that tag team if you can. And in all fairness, with the Eidolons there as well, it can really help in amping up that damage.
Yeah, it can be really potent. I don't think this tri-lane will last too long. I expect Boomy to dip into that jungle relatively quickly. There's not much you can really do against a Kunkka, although level 1's one of his weakest points, but once you hit 2 or 3, it gets a bit trickier to kind of kite him out. This is going to hurt Adroit's top lane specifically. You're going to have BTS solo for the most part, and solo up against a Brewmaster, a Phoenix, and even Tim's around. It's not going to be fun for BTS.
No, that it won't be. A lot of emphasis, it seems, on making sure he doesn't have a good time, but in all fairness, TNC doesn't really know yet that it's not going to be the Weaver up top. So they may end up switching lanes again on the side of TNC if they really do want to run a very aggressive lane up against Natsumi. A lot of pings going on for Gabby. I'm not sure what Gabby's done wrong, but you gotta love the fact that every time KP pings it says Divine Divine. It can be a little distracting during the cast, I'm gonna say, but it is fun.
Yeah, he just keeps going. I don't know. It's thing about TNC when we cast that kind of bothers me, Mike. I'm not sure if you noticed this one, but everyone but KP is in the Tim's guild. So it's just KP repping the OPA, which I know you appreciate because you've seen a lot of that guild, but I'm kind of disappointed not everyone's in Tim's.
Who said I appreciate it? I'm part of the rival guild, John. He should be part of my guild. I also get disgusted when I say that. He may as well have joined the Tim's guild. Regardless. Natsumi gonna show himself down bot now, and yeah, no, he's gonna TP. Not interested in dealing with this. Where's he gone though? Up the top lane. And it looks like KP will bring himself down bot lane. So they definitely don't want to have the Brewmaster versus Beastmaster. I think the Kunkka prefers the matchup anyway. So you can just clear out the balls with Tidebringer constantly. But BTS is also going to TP. So Droid, they are dead set on ensuring they have this laning stage. And that's fair enough. I think it does give him a slight advantage going into this game.
Yeah, you're not going to get as much value from these picks. I don't think it's the most drastic lane switch up though. Like, now you're just going to have to wait for the TPs. We'll see whether or not TNC will want to play that musical chair lane again when tossing the teleports up, but I think after one TP we tend to see that calm down a bit.
Look at Tim's, he's just being really annoying here up against Boomy. Trying to steal away that big centaur creep, and this is exactly what you do up against a greedy jungle Enigma. One of them is the pos 4. And mind you, Tim's is taking a lot of damage, but the point is he is just waiting to be able to fish that centaur, but he is now out of vision. And he won't even get XP for that, so that was actually very well played by Boomy. But Tim's is not going to leave him alone. He's just going to keep doing this over and over again.
Yeah, this can be effective in shutting down the Enigma. One thing to watch out for that is that Tim's is not getting EXP.
I'm surprised Mac though, he kind of left his courier walking back to the base, not realizing that Tim's was chasing down that Enigma.
Yeah, it's a bit of a loss, but I don't think Mac cares too much considering how his lane is going. Just look how pressured Gabby is to find these last hits. He's 7-1 and Mac is 12-3.
Mac is really abusing this lane quite well on top lane. No, it does end up going down to Natsumi, who also goes after Marchnell, finding his courier and then finding the kill. CML the one to pick up the Phoenix kill. But up at that top lane, Adroit just finding kills straight off the bat. That is very, very bad news for TNC. And when you look at the other lanes, they're not going any better. Like, Gabby's already running back to Fountain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's been a slow start mid. This is giving Tim some space to find some EXP though. So at least you'll probably hit 2 on your Shaker soon. It's not what you want. Mac is getting a little bit too much from this lane. Level 4 now. The damage coming out from him is just super hard. Look at that. He just heals up the wave and Gabby can't dodge.
A lot of damage. Now the Poison Sting will be there as well. Matt wants to refresh it. He won't be able to, but man, I didn't expect the Shadow Wave to do that much damage. That is a lot. Gabby just can't afford to get close to the creep wave to secure CS, because if he does, Mac, he's already waiting with that Shadow Wave, and Mac, he finds one more opportunity here, and Gabby's probably just going to die. And even then, like, even without that Shadow Wave, you can always just spam Poison Sting over and over again. I mean, Gabby, he's already gone through pretty much the whole set of tangos. He only has one left. He does have a salve available, but this is just going to keep up and get worse.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier for Gabby. This is really what he has to cope with. Like, you know, Tim's is too busy rotating around the jungle. He has been keeping Boomy suppressed just a bit, but it's really not helping Gabby, and this is... He will have to correct down the line. They need the PL to find an opportunity to farm as the game goes on.
I mean, even if you bring Tims into that mid lane, though, like, what's he meant to do? He's all he can do is Fisher. I just don't think it's going to be enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could at least maybe block out the wave a bit and help it shove in deeper, or just kind of rebalance that lane, but there's not too much you can really expect there, and this does mean that Gabby is just going to have to kind of do a slight pull on wave himself.
Not what you want. Top lane as well. March does end up going down again. Natsumi with the kill on the wave on. That'll be his second of the game. Well, CML even getting himself a bottle very, very early on the task, just because he can. He'll go ahead and bottle some boundary runes for himself on the Radiant side of things.
Yeah, I think that's actually Natsumi's bottle he's just refilling, because he doesn't want to leave the lane to grab those runes. So full bottle backup for Natsumi, and the sustain from the Weaver, the amount of harassment he can pump out with the consistent Shukuchi spam is just great in Armel.
Yeah, gonna get chased down. Snowball gonna be there with the swarm. Armel copying a lot of damage. He won't die. If Natsumi had been level 5 at that point with level 3 Sakuchi, he may actually have gotten away with that kill. But I don't think he minds. He just keeps expending this regen from Armel, forcing them to sap their economy to just keep buying more regen. And Armel is completely out now. I would dare say this is probably the worst start for TNC you could have asked for. The only lane that seems going okay is the bot lane, but top lane again, Armel going to be in trouble and probably will just be dead here. Natsumi on a killing spree at 6 minutes in. March can't even stand close by to harass as Natsumi just continues to be aggressive.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this tanky lane combination. It's just that March at level 3 just can't do much, and Natsumi going really deep to try to find more.
Natsumi doesn't dive the tier 1 tower. He was just a bit too afraid of dying there, but now Armel comes back in with the ant. March has to be a little bit careful. He's still very low, but Natsumi has to be more careful. Tidebringer hit, going to be there with the Icarus dive and a nice Fire Spirit. Armel does manage to clean up that kill. Meanwhile, though, in the mid lane map, he ends up killing off Tims on the Earthshaker, who did try and come in and help out the PL a little bit, but ended up kind of feeding more gold to Mac. And Mac was going to be fine anyway. They had a rotation coming in from CML.
Middle tower is under attack.
Now Mac getting salved up, back up to full HP. Tims will come into the mid lane to soak some XP here, but Droid is really starting to get out of control.
Yeah, they're finding a bit...
Snowball going to be there. They know they can dive this. Tims has the poison touch on him as well.
One form falter.
He'll just die.
Middle tower.
CMO will happily let Mac take the kill.
Yeah, and the greed of a droid's trap is still paying off.
Gabby ends up dying again. Ben Soy now losing his life on the Beastmaster. March falling low as well. Natsumi, he's just all over the map. He'll just follow Gabby wherever he goes, it seems. And well, KP now going to be in trouble. Doesn't have the split available right now. Time lapse is there from Natsumi, and KP slowly going to be chased down. Does slam the ground. Natsumi falling low, but not low enough to dissuade him from chasing. Malefus going to be there on KP. He continues to try and run away. But there are Necro creeps following him right now, and he has no mana left. He will end up dying. Natsumi getting a full bottle once again from Ben Soy this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Droid is just running away with to start 2-9, a 4K lead before the 10-minute mark. You've got already the early Necronomicon from Boomy, so the push is on. TNC, if they're not careful, are going to lose a lot more space on this map, a lot earlier than they'd expect.
That's just the brilliance of ADRIOT though. Just these perfect laning matchups they had. And they had such a greedy draft to begin with, and you'd think they would get punished for it, but it's just not the case. It's the exact opposite so far. And ADRIOT now, feeling like they may as well start pressuring this bottom tier 2 tower while they're at it.
Your admiral is on board.
This team is well known for finishing games very, very quickly if they have the chance. It looks like even up against TNC, it's not going to be too different. They'll really just continue trying to apply pressure onto towers. In fact, March, Snowball going to be there, won't land, but it does force March to Icarus dive away.
Get lively now. Your admiral is
That allows Matsumi to get a few more hits into that tier 2.
Yeah, and TNC, they're still trying to hunt down. They do find Mac.
That they do, but he is a dazzle. Both gonna fly in. Looks like they might have enough, and he does go down the time, bringing him CML, though there with Natsumi. They'll try onto RML, but now the primal split will come out from KP. CML will snowball the way back onto RML. The snowball will end up connecting, but now the Weaver being tornadoed up. Here comes Gabby on the Beastmaster, on the PL, but the Beastmaster does get the roar on RML. They do find the kill. Now Tim's also ends up dying. Boomy, he'll find that one. CML trying to run away. Gabby gonna chase him down the black hole. Boomy just getting the PL as well. It's a 3-for-0. And ADRIOT, in fact, it was a 3-for-1. I forgot the Dazzle did end up dying. But you wouldn't really mind that if you're ADRIOT. You're more than happy to let Mac die for 3 more heroes, especially if that involves 2 cores.
Yeah, it's a really great trade for ADRIOT and TNC. They're just not even able to get a simple pickoff like that. They have to toss a lot of spells out. They still trade unfavorably. They've got to find some ways to get their level 6s up on the supports, March and Tim's. They need the slam and the egg to be up and running. There's just no space.
Oh, Natsumi, just in the perfect place for the perfect time. Gets the courier, now Mark Icarus time away, but Ben Soy, with that dominated creep, just positioning it perfectly. Top lane, however, CML gonna be in trouble. Will end up dying. RML the one to pick up the kill there on the Conquer. They'll try to finally go after that top tier 1 tower, but they don't exactly siege very quickly, and to make matters worse, you will have Boomy there to defend.
Yeah, it's one of the weaknesses of TNC's draft as well. Their push is not the best compared to ADRIOT, although it looks like ADRIOT will just kind of give up that tier 1 top in exchange for a tier 2 bot.
An easy trade.
Radiant's bottom tower.
You can do it so quick, especially when you have that siege creep there from the Dire side. March is still trying to defend. Great stun out from Benzoy. Now the snowball won't really land this time. Shards will be there, and March still ticking down from the poison.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Mac finds another kill on the Dazzle. And that bottom tier 2 is gone. ADRIOT start making their way into the mid lane, and this is just surgical play from ADRIOT.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, they've really started to completely take over the map here. TNC, they've got the level 6s on their supports, but they need other initiation tools as well. They need the blink out from KP. They need the blink out on Tim's, and they're not close enough. KP's prioritizing a soul ring first, just so he can actually cast his spells in the middle of a fight.
It's really concerning. ADRIOT just still so aggressive right now, looking for another target to go on. I mean, you look at Gabby's farm as well. He's been trying so hard on that PL, but he's currently bottom 4 on the net worth. And speaking of blinks, Boomy just has a blink. What?
Yeah, I like that.
Boots and a blink.
Yeah, you don't see that, but Boomy, as long as he can land those black holes, can really turn these fights whole.
Bot lane, nice snowball save through the X. The boat is going to be there. Natsumi still goes with the boat, and he will go down here. Egg being committed by March just in case. But CML and Natsumi both losing their lives there, and there's some very, very important pickups from the side of TNC.
Yeah, those were pretty big. Costly though. Slam and Egg being down means you're probably not going to fight anytime soon. And Adroit, remember, they've got that Blink and Boomy. They want to reveal it. I'm pretty sure once these two heroes respawn, Adroit will try to make a play.
They kind of, they don't really need to, but they definitely can if they so choose to. And it looks like they are going to TP mid. Smoke up.
Radiant are scanning.
Boomy with that black hole blink now up and run. And they run to that Radiant triangle. Tim's gonna get scouted out here. Snowball gonna be able to land. Tim's will die. Maybe not. The Fisher is there, but no. Natsumi's gonna chase him down with Sakuchi. CML had the shards anyway. Now KP, understanding he's in the wrong place right now, will run away.
Is under attack.
But Adroit, they want to go for more. They understand with the Blink Black Hole, they want to get that big surprise initiation off. And quite frankly, if they somehow wipe TNC right now, they could actually go for a T3 tower if they really wanted to. No, does X back, has to be very careful because Bensoy does have the roar as well. They slowly just chip away that T2 mid, but ultimately will back off.
Yeah, it's not quite the best opportunities for Boomy. You are seeing a lot more defensiveness from TNC. They've been a lot more disciplined about their positioning, and they're just going to try to take their time. As long as Adroit doesn't melt any further towers, I think TNC is going to be happy. They're giving space for other heroes to farm. They've given March a lane to get some EXP up as well, so you're still finding some stuff across the map, although...
March might be dead. Egress died.
Oh yeah.
Bees, but the Malapus is dead.
No.
Yeah. Mac top lane, however, they're going to try onto the Dazzle. Great shards out from CML, however, just blocking them out. Still, they got the boat in. Fisher is there. They will secure the kill. Now CML, the chase will be on. That Tusk is in big trouble, and he will also die to Gabby. In fact, they might even find another KP. He got the tornado there onto Ben Soy, but we do have a pause. It looks like somebody on the side of Adroit has disconnected, and it will be Boomy.
Yeah, it's great timing from TNC, understanding that the Enigma not being around meant that they could start clumping up and forcing fights. They're going to find themselves a nice set of kills. There's not much turn opportunity for Adroit. They're too far off, so they're going to have to take that loss.
Yeah, there's no choices here. Primal split just about to end. They'll just wait out that tornado, and Echo just being committed just in case Bensoy wants to play any games. I think at this point, if you are Tims, you don't care about that Echo Slam cooldown. You just commit it every single time you have an opportunity. In all fairness, Tims is very, very close to that Blink Dagger as well, so he doesn't want to risk dying at all.
Yeah, it's a safe bet, and when you are this behind very early in the game, you will just want to find any kill to bounce yourself back. So TNC finding some chinks in the armor and managing to break it just a bit more open. They've got to be careful about splitting up like that. When they reveal Boomies in a different lane, TNC will jump.
Boomy is in the bot lane right now. March will scout out those Eidolon. Mid lane, however, an initiation there. KB gets sharded up by CML. He has the help of Gabby around, but Adroit, they just don't care. They're going to start rushing forward. Understanding those ultis aren't available right now. Nice roll, but a great fish around from Tims. That'll block the way. Although Boomy is around, has Black Hole if he wants. He'll hold out. KP going to be very thankful that Tims is around.
Yeah, you're starting to see Gabby become a bit of a nuisance. He does have the defusal up and running, so every single time they chase and he has illusions around, you're not going to have mana for long. And that did cause some issues for CML, although with that, Adroit goes straight to the pit.
Why not? It's an easy Roshan attempt. You know they can't fight you right now. Look at all those units right now as well. Just so much damage coming out. Droid, give the Aegis over to Natsumi, make him that much harder to take out. Natsumi does have the Desert Blood. With that, a Droid, they could definitely afford to get more aggressive now. But
yeah,
a word of caution, Tims is ever so close to that blink.
Yeah, that's going to be really big for TNC. I mean, just you mentioned all those summons coming out. It's going to be really bad to get slammed in the middle of that. So, ADRIOT has to be pretty disciplined in their spacing as well fairly soon. But I think they do feel a lot more confident, right? You've got so much more damage coming out here. The biggest thing is that Mac as well on the Dazzle hasn't hit that high point. The biggest point for the Dazzle is level 18 with Bad Juju. So as long as you're not there yet, you do feel like there's a lot more room to grow. And there's a lot of sustain coming out now. The Guardian Greaves are up and running for Mac. So it is easier to keep everyone alive. And yeah, March just showing us the classic Southeast Asian issues. Lag and Cabby. No reasons here.
It's alright, March will be back anytime. There he is. But now we have Mac disconnected. Everyone's just going to disconnect this series apparently.
Hey, it's a Filipino team versus a Filipino team, you know, it's it's gonna be this way. It's gonna be this way.
Oh. Should have known. Should have known before we came into this. Mac will be back. Luckily they are reconnecting very, very quickly today. So it's, oh wait.
Yeah, here we go. Nope.
No. Armand
Okay.
wants a bit of time here.
It is like lunchtime, so maybe having a quick bite to eat in the downtime as well. That would be nice.
It's always about lunch with you, John.
It's always about it. Well, it's not my fault we start at noontime. You know, it's like everyone else is having good food, and here we are. Although March,
Bot lane, March gonna be in big, big trouble. He has the Icarus Stein, he's just holding out, and now with the Ghost Scepter, he will go straight into that tree line, but a Swarm is there from Natsumi. That'll give plenty of vision over to Boomy, who does clean up the kill. Boomy also gonna scout out Gabby, I believe. In fact, did he not notice?
no.
Maybe he just barely missed out on that vision. And Gabby sneaks his way into the tree line. Not wanting to jump in front of them though, of course. It is still very, very dangerous, as you know the black hole is up. TNC have bought themselves a... Oh, Tibbs.
Oh.
Big Echo Slam.
Oh,
Doesn't
no.
really hit Ben Soy. He got a lot of creeps out of that though, so I guess he got some gold. And in all fairness, he does get his Blink Dagger up out of that, so... I don't know if I'd call that bad. It probably was bad, but I believe he was trying to go after Ben Soy.
Yeah, in that sense, you know, with the blink up, you're happier, I guess, but it's another 2 minutes where you're not gonna get that slam. So there is a bit of an opening for ADRIOT. They did blow the roar on that as well, I believe. Ben Soy did pop it, so you're not gonna have that. But that's a lower cooldown, and it's still gonna be relatively easy to push into this tier 2 top now.
Natsumi feeling confident. Fisher will come out. Cinderbrew there as well from KP.
Radiant's top tower
Won't be enough though. The tier 2, of course, will drop. And that's kind of where you would have loved to have that Echo Slam available. But that will not be the case. So you've got another 80 seconds for that to be back up. I'm sure we'll see a huge team fight coming out from TNC when it is available. They probably will just go for a smoke. But ADRIOT, they are going to make full usage of this time they have. In the mid lane, they'll actually smoke up now.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Might run straight into Gabby.
Oh.
Boomy will scout him out. Gabby gonna go for a run. Does have that double. Boomy would love to just black hole if he needs to, and yeah, he commits it. It's well worth it for that pause. 1 kill.
No.
Walrus Punch misses the right target, but it won't matter. Natsumi, he does secure the kill.
Yeah, and again, it's a one-man black hole, but it's on the biggest hero you really want to blow up anyway. So ADRIOT's still gonna be happy with that sort of trade. And TNC, they're going to have to take a step back, keep farming up. You look to March, he's saving up for the Ags on Phoenix. We've seen that multiple times. The progress is a bit slow. There's not much space for March to really build up. But once it's up, ADRIOT doesn't have too much beyond Natsumi to deal with the egg, and that's going to make it a lot worse.
You're still losing towers though on the side of TNC. Like ADRIOT aren't done. They go mid lane, they push the tier 2 tower. And they find it very, very easily. That's all out of towers now gone for TNC, which should really shrink the map quite a bit for them. And it's at that point now, John, where you're kind of running out of time if you're TNC. They do smoke up, they got the echo back up, the black hole's down. They spotted out Mac and CMO together, but both of those heroes have backed off as well, or I should say CMO is running back up towards the high ground. Tim's gets the Fisher into the enchant, and now here comes Gabby. It should be a nice easy support kill here onto CMO, but he's going to make it as hard as we can.
Oh.
Misses the chance. He would have died anyway. KP was waiting.
Yeah, it's not the worst here to lose out on for ADRIOT, and I'm sure they're happy they just tossed the support for that smoke. Tim's does spot out Boomy, but quick blink out, not gonna find that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Have to say it's a bit surprising to see Gabby's build up. Got the Yasha, not going for a Manta, is opting straight for an SNY to kind of bulk up, and I can't really say I blame him. It's not the most common thing. We do still tend to see a lot of PLs trend towards that Manta for the dodge. In this case, I think he really just wants to survive and man fight up to really bring the pressure onto ADRIOT.
Even the status resist is quite nice as well this game from that Sergeant Yasha, right? Like you've got that roar, you've got the snowball. It's quite a bit of lockdown Gabby's been experiencing this game. I can't disagree with that item choice too much.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
We'll see TNC, they'll smoke up again. Into the mid lane, the line has been drawn. Black hole gonna be up in 5 seconds from now.
Radiant are scanning.
KP looking for a way into this fight. Tim's gonna get a nice Fisher off. Boomy though is right around the corner. Now they will get started. Black hole gonna be committed, does catch 3 of them, but KP does get the split off still. Tim's will die preemptively. Now Armel also goes down, and KP just has to run for it. Just run as fast as you can, sir. Not the greatest of team fights there for the side of TNC, and they try to go after the Weaver, but they just can't burst him down fast enough, and Boomy, he does not hesitate with the black hole.
Yeah, and with the BKB on Boomy, it's just a guaranteed black hole. That was the reveal, and probably one of the best BKB black hole reveals you could hope for here for ADRIOT. TNC, they've got to be a lot more cautious pushing up into any sort of choke point now. Just a lot of potency from ADRIOT with the basically unstoppable black hole in this case, and they've got to play around their slam. They still have their spells. They do smoke up.
Try. They'll check the Roshan pit with that smoke, but nobody's there. Instead, they will run straight into Boomy. It'll be a nice easy kill on that pos for Enigma. That's all it really is though, it's a pos for Enigma. He doesn't have black hole anyway, so he doesn't really mind dying. It's not really going to affect ADRIOT too much. They are still just freely farming on all their cores.
Yeah, and we talk about the Dazzle hitting 18. You are almost at that point, so you're going to be dealing with so much lower cooldowns on all of his items, on the Shadow Wave, on the Shallow Grave. There's just way too much sustain coming out from ADRIOT, and I don't reckon they've even had anything like a Spirit Vessel on hand to mitigate that.
I believe they have, no. March doesn't have one, of course Tim's doesn't have one. Nobody has that Spirit Vessel, and yeah, there is quite a lot of value in this game for one, but they just haven't had the chance to actually, you know, buy one out. I just don't think you have the luxury right now as TNC to afford an item like that. You can make the argument maybe the Phoenix could, but it looks like March believes the Ads is just going to be that much more important.
Oh.
Top lane March, speaking of, does get caught out now. Of course he has that Icarus dive, but he is not going to survive. Just doesn't matter. Natsumi, Sakuchi's passed as he is ghost formed, and just another very easy kill. ADRIOT, they'll extend their lead now to 8k.
Yeah, it's It's still looking pretty dominant for Madroid. They are going to be grouping up around a Rochefit now. This is scouted out by a dominated creep, so TNC are aware. They could choose to fight. They still have the slam.
Gonna be a decently fast Roshan if they don't get in there.
Oh.
Black Hole gonna be there, only catching one, but it is Armo on the conquer. Boomy now gonna have to back off as the rest of TNC are more than happy to go in. KP out there with the primal split. Boomy's still going to be in big trouble in that Enigma, but there's the shallow grave from Matt, making sure he stays alive. Now Natsumi coming in. Nice fish route from Tim, blocking them in, and now the Echo coming out, connecting on two. Still a nice snowball save onto Matt, allowing them to get out of that boat, flying in from Armel. Now they jump in. It's complete chaos around the Roshan pit, but Armel is falling, and he will end up dying. CML now looking for more. They catch out March with those sharks. Ben Soido's got to control up Gabby. He's doing a lot of damage right now on that PO. Egg has been dropped but gets destroyed straight away. Ben Soy now getting put in the snowball. It's not He tries to Sakuchi away and deal with these illusions from the PO. They'll find KB. Ben Soy does die. Gabby is still going, however. He'll find CML as well. Mac is falling low but does TP out in time. And Tim's meanwhile still controlling up Natsumi, but he will die to Natsumi. And it's only really Gabby versus Natsumi left. And both these heroes seemingly just can't die right now, or maybe they can. If Gabby can drain the mana of Natsumi, that would be one way to get it done. But no, he'll give up on that, he'll go back to farming. Natsumi will do the same.
That is a really messy back and forth from both sides. ADRIOT does pull ahead in the end, and you're seeing the issue we talked about with Mac. He is just keeping everyone alive a lot longer than they should be. 20-second cooldown on Guardian Greaves. Just so much sustain here that not even bothered to really punish.
You gotta kill that Dazzle off. You have no choice. He's gonna be the first one to die in this team fight. Otherwise, he will just keep everyone alive longer than they should be alive. Roshan now gonna go down. Natsumi picks up another Aegis. And I believe the cheese did go to that Dazzle. Yeah, Mac is holding it for himself. Mac's also building into a Shiva's Guard soon, John.
Cool.
Having that slow on that low of a cooldown is really gonna suck for TNC.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous just how much control they're slowly building up. And TNC, again, they've got ways back in, but they've either got to mitigate the heals or kill off Mac.
Shards barely missing out there on KP. He'll run out of there. Look to Gabby, who almost has the full Abyssal up, and perhaps once that Abyssal Blade is there, they might be able to actually finish off that Dazzle or even the Weaver to start the fight off. Both Boomy, Black Hole gonna be on the PL top lane.
Oh no.
He's clearly alone right now. He will survive through it. Natsumi though is there. Now nice fish coming up from Tim's. Echo is also available. Gabby still surviving, but he is falling very low. Poison Touch comes out, Matt, following up with Natsumi. And Gabby does end up dying. Now KP trying to run away with those Primal Split Brewings. And he should be fine too, but no, they're following the Earth Spirit. KP understands he probably is gonna die here. He will go down. Just off the back of Boomy. Just the man that's not afraid to commit that black hole just whenever he wants. He just used it to buy time for his team to close the gap.
Yeah, and that's all they really need. They just need to be able to hold down one of these big heroes. And you talk about the timing on that Abyssal, it's going to be delayed from that. This is going to allow ADRIOT to get a very fast push onto the high ground.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Glyph will be forced out, but they have a new creep wave coming in. They're not going to mind this at all. Crimson Guard there on Ben Soy. He's thinking about the Roar, but there was an X on Armel.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Nice shards out from CML, however. And there's no defending this mid-ranks. They are just going to have to let it go down.
Has fallen.
The question is, will ADRIOT go for anything else? And the answer is no. They're just happily going to back out after that mid-ranks is taken.
Yeah, there's no real rush. They know the PL's back up. they probably want to look for a pickoff first before committing again. And, you know, TNC does have really strong high ground if the initiation goes well. Slam, Egg, both coming out, just a lot of strong spells in a tight area. Adroit probably don't want to force that out without the black hole.
I mean, the problem is, though, John, the initiation and the high ground defense hasn't been going well for TNC. It's, Adroit is still finding a way to deal with all of it.
Yeah, it's the fact that TNC always lose one hero outside first. They have to be a lot more careful with how far they allow Gabby to farm. He's just immediately pulling back. He doesn't want to cross the riverside, which is probably the smart play. Oh, yeah.
He's got an Axe. March does have his Axe up, but that Enigma Axe hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight Pulse on a black hole. KP gonna get caught out. Raw gonna be there as well. There's lots to get this Brewmaster. He's still alive for now. There's the egg saving him, Mark.
Oh no.
Brought him in now. It gets Tims. He jumps in with a huge Echo Slam, but they still find the egg. KP and Mark both die. It's looking really bad for TNC. They'll buy back on KP. Tims is dead, however, on the Earthshaker. KP, can you do anything? He has the Primal Split. He will commit it. He'll run in, but he can't find a target.
Oh no.
All his spirits are dying.
No.
He might die back. It looks like he probably will, and he does go down. Now Gabby being caught out, Boomy has the black hole if he wants to commit it. He does.
Oh, yeah.
It's just on Gabby, but it's well worth it. There's no buybacks left, no calls GG. They have had enough.
Ooh.
What a performance from Adroit for game one.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the pre-game stats. Throughout this year, Adroit have only lost one series against TNC. TNC's draft looked like it was going to be potent. We expected it to be tanky. We expected it to be able to stem